Okay, I think we can start. Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Seyoung, and today I'm going to talk about how to prepare interview as a front-end developer without any experience, and also how to build a CV. So I am a software engineer at Fanduel. I was a photographer before, actually, before I changed my career. I studied photography at uni and worked as I worked as freelancer photographer for over 4 years, and I applied to over 200 companies to get a job in London. It took me long because I had a visa issue, but I'm sure for you guys, it will be much easier. Yeah, it shouldn't be like apply to 200 company. No, so don't worry. But yeah, so you don't have to apply to over 200 company. So it was just me. But today I want to share what I learned and also another tips for interview and CV. So today, first section is gonna how to build CV. Second section will be first steps of interview, and third section will be how to find the right company as a junior engineer. And for last, we're gonna have a Q&A section. So first, CV. So this is example of CV. This was my CV, but I changed some confidential information. First, I put my name here and then put the position like front-end developer or back-end developer or full-stack developer and put location and then put all the link you have related tech. GitHub link, definitely put it. And sorry, yeah, GitHub link, definitely put it. And if you have portfolio website, put the link. If you have some tech blog, definitely put it, but it's not mandatory, it's optional. If you have LinkedIn, you must have LinkedIn actually. So they put LinkedIn and email, put the email and phone number. So, and other thing is the summary, we need to have summary and tech stack, experience or project or volunteering activities if you have an education. So let's get into the detail one by one. First, summary. So usually when people already have experience, they don't like they put their experiences summary like how much impact they made in previous company, that kind of thing. But since we don't have any experience, you can use this summary as to show your personality. So it's a storytelling for junior is important because we've got nothing to show with experience. So like show your passion for coding here. For me, I put because I worked as a photographer, so I put like how I got into coding. For me, I got into coding while I was building photography portfolio website. So I put that one, and I put like I have a keen eye for UI, and I like a visual thing, and I also I dealt with a lot of customer complaints. So I emphasize that I'm good with communication. I'm a team player. So if you already have experience like me in other field, if you like change career to software engineer, use that. Um, for example, if you previously worked for customer service, you can say something like, I have really good customer service skill and I can apply that to my collaboration skill as a software engineer. Because people think like a software engineer is just typing code and communicate with machine, but it's actually not. Like soft skill as a software engineer is so important. So company definitely looking for someone like can communicate well and team player. So yeah, use that. So like for example, if you previously had a teaching work, you can use that also. Like I'm really good at sharing my knowledge, that kind of example. Um, yeah, and then next is tech stack. Just a list to tech stack, and what I want to say here is like some people they put level of tech stack like JavaScript, medium, HTML high, but I wouldn't recommend to do that because it's not objective. Like for you, it's high, but for senior engineer, it can be low. So it's hard to measure. So just better just list of tech skill you have. And I put tools that's like Visual Studio, Git, GitHub, Slack, Figma. This one actually, like once you have experience, you don't have to list them because it's so obvious that you already know how to use it. But for junior, like company would be happy if you already knows how to use Git or GitHub or Visual Studio. But it's up to you. Yeah. Project. This can be most important part for us when we don't have any experience. Um, for project, if it's a team project, if you have team project experience, definitely mention it, emphasize it. Team project experience is so important. That's what company is looking for. So say something like you collaborated with other software engineer or you collaborated with other people in tech, like designer or yeah, like backend developer. Um, yeah, they're gonna be happy to see that you have experience already with as a team. And another important thing here is always attach evidence of your project, like GitHub link, website link. This is so important that you put the link here because they never know this is true or not. So definitely put GitHub or website link if you have. And also the other important thing is definitely mention tech stack you use. You can just mention like built with JavaScript, Python, HTML, or like tech stack for this project, blah blah. Or for my case, I said I created this customized chart and graph with library with another language and framework. You can just yeah, it's up to you, but definitely mention tech stack for that project. Also, and next work experience, if you previously worked as a barista, if you worked as a server, if you worked as a like designer, um just put like 3 or 4 lines for most recent or most related experience. If you yeah, like again emphasize if you have already like collaboration experience, dealing with customer experience, mention soft skill you gained through your previous work. That also important for software engineer, like organize schedule or some skill you gain through dealing with customer complaints. um yeah, if you worked as a barista or server before, like show them you're a team player. For my case, I had experience as a photographer, so I focused on 2 things, and I already mentioned the 2 things. First, I am a visual person, so I enjoy front end development because front end engineering also it's also working with UI. So I mentioned that like I'm good with UI. I have keen eye for detail. I like a visual thing, and that's why I enjoy this. And second one is I mentioned I worked with various people. Like I dealt with so many customer. I worked with like a stylist or editor. I mentioned that to show that I'm a good team player. Next, this is optional if you have this, but I think like once you don't have many things to show in tech related to tech in your resume, it's good to have like hackathon experience or like going attend to meet up to preparing programming every week, that kind of thing, because in this way you can show your passion for coding. So like if you have extra experience, definitely mention it. If you don't have, I recommend to do it for next weekend. Like it doesn't take too much time, so I recommend to do it. Here, what you need to emphasize is that you have passion, like you're like genuinely enjoying being in this field. And also if you have hackathon or pair programming activities, like you can say, oh, I did pair programming with other engineers every week to build something, or like collaborated with product manager by using Figma, Google Dot, or Zoom. So that was about CV, and we're gonna move to interview. Typically, there's four steps of interview. First, phone interview, and then technical coding interview or home task. It's gonna be either one of these. And third, React interview or technical Q&A interview. This step can be like can be different, depends on the company, but I found this is most common flow. And the final interview is culture fit interview or behavior interview. First, phone interview. Phone interview is pretty casual. It's usually like 10 minutes or 20 minutes with a recruiter or HR person from the company. It's sometimes it's on the phone or sometimes it's on Google Meet or Zoom. So this step is for them to screening your CV, for them to get your basic information about your situation. So common question in phone interview is to tell us about yourself. Like, this is so common. Like they always ask this. So this is like your summary in CV, in like 3 to 5 lines, like 1 minute talk. You can tell them like your current statement, like your previous experience briefly. If you change your career or if you just graduated, you can say like I graduated this major in this and I'm looking for a job now right now, and tell like why you apply for this company briefly, just like introduction about you. And they're gonna definitely ask you about what do you know about our company. This is so common question. Like I know that when you apply, you just apply a bunch of company. You don't really like look at the description or their like what this company does. But they're gonna ask this. So once you CV pass and schedule the phone interview, go to the company website and have a look, or like download their application and play around it, or like just Google it, or like LinkedIn, go to their LinkedIn, and the company always put like 1 or 2 line of their like what this company do. And so they're gonna ask like, oh, have you used our app before? Or have you seen our website before? Or do you know what our company does? So yeah, prepare for that. Like even though you don't know about this company, just show them you're interested in. And they're gonna ask like your current situation, like do you have visa if you're a foreigner, or are you working currently when you can start work, that kind of thing, and like previous experience or about project if you have. And one thing I want to mention is make sure your internet connection and phone signal be in a quiet place. They're gonna also check your attitude during phone interview. For my experience, like one time I was having phone interview at booking.com. I really wanted to, yeah, I really wanted to get into their company, but my phone died during the interview. It was horrible. I don't know why I did the mistake. I thought like phone interview is so casual, so I wasn't really prepared. So I called back after my phone charged like 30 minutes later. I emailed them, but I never got second chance. Like in this stage, the company easily moved on to next person. So it's better not make mistake like me. And stage two, from this stage, it's actual interview. It can be either home task or like one-to-one coding interview, like whiteboard coding interview. I will talk about the home task first. In the home task, what company want to see is from junior front-end developer is first, is this person able to fetch data from back end, spread it in front end? And second, is this person can actually implement something with HTML, CSS, or React or Vue, like, or Angular, whatever front-end framework we are using. So typically, they give like JSON file, or they give a link for the data, and they ask you fetch the data. You can use fetch, async await, or Axios library for fetching, and then they're gonna ask you like, show the data, like for example, if it's object or array, show the data as a list, and then if I click the one of card, like go to the detail page, something like that. So yeah, normally like a company asks like, can you build landing page with this data, or like use this data which will be array or object, and can you like make a search function, can you make list, or can you make pop-up or modal. And yeah, that's pretty common home task. And if they ask, sometimes they don't ask, but if they ask like, push your project to GitHub, like, and then send just GitHub link, that means they want to check your commit and process. They want to check your like how you build this project step by step. They want to follow your thought process. So be cautious about GitHub commit message. Put meaningful commit message, and then commit for each step. And also keep the code clean as possible. They're gonna see implementation, but they're also gonna see code. So don't leave like console log, and use meaningful semantic function name, use meaningful variable name. And it's okay, you don't finish like entire website. They sometimes they give you like really huge, like build entire website in 2 days. That's too much. But sometimes like if you don't build everything, they're okay with it. If your code is fine, like if your implementation work fine, sometimes they move on to next stage. So don't worry about it too much. Stage two can be also one-to-one coding interview. It can be like either one of these things. Many company gave me one-to-one coding interview in stage two. Actually, this was like most common interview for me. Some people call this as a whiteboard interview when the interview process was on site. So it's like algorithm interview. So for a front-end developer, it's usually about array, string, object. The like three thing is most common thing, like Fizzbuzz problem or some two problem. So I recommend the website called Lit Code and Hacker Rank. I served this top interview question, and I went through string, array, object. I got help a lot from this website. So yeah, I highly recommend this. And also there's one video that helped me a lot. It's from Google whiteboard interview. Go to this link. I'm gonna share all the link at the end, so don't worry. So in this whiteboard interview, what you need to focus to see is how this like interviewee go through the process. So in this interview stage, what important is, it's not, so interviewer is usually like a senior software engineer from the company, and they will give you on one algorithm problem or two algorithm problem, and they're gonna see how you solve this and your thought process and your attitude. So speak your thoughts out loud while you solve the problem, like explain what you're doing. Even though the interviewer is senior engineer, like don't just assume they will know what you're doing. The important thing in this interview is not them to watch you get answer right away. Like they want to see your process. So how to communicate. This should be like ping pong. It should be like interaction of one-to-one pair programming. So explain like Oh, I think I need to use some method for this array. Oh, I think I need to use map or reduce method here because I think it's best. Something like that. Explain that. And it's okay if you don't get the right answer. Like I often didn't get right answer um, because they actually they give you difficult problem because if it's easy they cannot see how you tackle this problem, so it's usually difficult, but it's okay you don't get right answer. If you're stuck, don't panic and don't just shut down. Say something like, I think I need to use some method for array, but I don't know what method I should use. Can I Google it? And most of the time they said, yeah, just Google it, because Googling is also important skill for software engineer. So if you start, and sometimes if you stuck for a long time, interviewer will give you a hint, and take that well. Like, oh, I need to do this, like because of this. Add your opinion. Don't just say like, okay, yeah, definitely add your opinion. And for me, like algorithm interview was most daunting and intimidating thing because I don't have a CS degree. I never studied algorithm, so it was intimidating. I even didn't want to look at it. So I spent few weeks for only study algorithm at Late Code and HackerRank. So I highly recommend the website, and there was also one good Udemy course, like for bootcamp algorithm data structure course. This helped me a lot. I'm gonna share the link at the end. And stage three is React interview. Typically, it's 1 hour of one-to-one React interview. Um, Different between home task is interviewer who is normally like interviewer is gonna watch you like how you tackle on this React task. But it's kind of similar with home task. It's just one to one with senior engineer from the company. So in this interview, what interviewer wanna see is your basic coding skill. And common requirement is usually like make button, and if you click button, make the like show modal or pop up, or like make search function, yeah, like this kind of thing. This is common. So if you need practice, I recommend to make to-do list. To-do list is good way to understand the core of the language or framework you're using. And during the interview, try to use JavaScript ES syntax. Use let and const instead of var. Use triple equal sign instead of two. This is not mandatory, but you're gonna get extra point. And there's one video called the Beginner React.js Coding Interview. This is from, I think the channel name was Ben something. I'll share the link at the end. But this you can expect from this video. Oh, this is typical one-to-one React interview. Stage three also can be technical Q&A interview. This is not super common, but I just found like some company do this. This is just like Q&A. They ask about what happened when you type google.com. What's HTTP? Like, do you know what is HTTP method? And what is closure? What is hosting? Bunch of JavaScript question, or React question. Like, do you know what is props and state? So good. Good resources. There's there's like entire page of Q&A. I use this Q&A because this question like repeated again for many company. So just go to this website, and there's already answer, there's already question. So just like make your own answer with this. This interview is not super common. So last stage is behavioral interview or culture fit interview. Sometimes they call culture fit interview. In this stage, the interviewer is normally a manager or CTO. If it's really small company, it's usually like software engineering manager. I found that this is some like a personality test. They want to see that you're not a troublemaker. So they're gonna ask, tell me about when you had conflict with your coworker. You can use experience in team project since you don't have any experience in tech, or like previous worked as a barista or server if you have that experience, or if you just graduated school, use the experience when you had a part-time job at a restaurant, or when you had a team project at uni, or when you did hackathon. So important thing in this stage is always answer with STAR method. STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. Always follow this flow when you make answer. So, for example, this was actually my answer for this question. When interviewer asked, "Oh, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker," the answer with STAR method will be explain specific situation and task you were in. For my case, I answered like this. When I did team project with three other software engineer to build my portfolio project, we needed to build login authentication for the app. I thought Firebase is the best library, but the other engineer thought like Auth0 is the best library. So there was a disagreement. And then say what action you took for the situation, like how you try to solve this conflict. So I said, so two of us went to the meeting room and talked about each other's talk to each other about why we think this way is the best. We explained our thought with logic and reason, like we showed each other evidence, and then finally you tell them result. So for my case, I said the other engineer had better approach because of this reason. So Auth0 was better for our code base. In our case, it was more efficient. It was short time to build. So we agreed to use Auth0 instead of Firebase. And actually turns out that was actually the best for our app. Say positive result, definitely like don't say like, oh, like we don't see each other anymore. They just want to check that you're not a troublemaker in a team. And for last, my tip is use Glassdoor, website called Glassdoor. All of these steps I mentioned come out differently from company to company. Sometimes React one-to-one interview comes at stage 2. Sometimes culture fit interview comes at stage 3. So I talked about most common flow, but it actually depends on company. So when you get a job, when you get a like job interview, they're gonna email you. Then go to the website called Glassdoor, search for the company, and there's interview section. Some nice people share about their interview experience. They're gonna mention like, oh, after phone interview, I did one-to-one algorithm interview, so you can expect what it's gonna come next. Or sometimes some nice company send email you about we are gonna do this interview next stage, so prepare for that. So use this Glassdoor, and yeah, section 3 is how to find the right company for junior. I think most important thing for junior engineer is supportive team. Like find out the team and company culture is willing to support junior. Avoid the company that expect junior developers show performance like right away. Avoid the company the expect junior engineer show huge performance. Like, yeah, that's red flag. So you can ask these 3 questions to avoid that kind of company and find a good supportive team. Ask how many senior engineers in team. Good team has good ratio of level, like 2 junior, 2 mid-level, 2 senior, something like that. If it's like 1 senior and 4 junior, that's how can I ask to senior engineer? That's a red flag. And also ask about onboarding process. If they will explain about their onboarding process well, that means company is ready to have junior developer. And Lastly, this is most important, but ask about code review or pairing programming. Junior engineer learn a lot from proper code review process. If company doesn't have a code review, if they say, oh, we actually don't have time for code review, we just merge the code, that's red flag. So yeah, go to the company, have proper code review, or go to company, have like one-to-one pair programming. And wrap up is I know it's daunting, like it's intimidating, like so many steps for interview, so many things to prepare. Like we need to build portfolio, one-to-one algorithm interview, React interview is too much. But yeah, this this was me actually when I like tried to learn algorithm. I just want to punch my laptop so many times. I just wanted to throw away. But yeah, like sometimes company give me home task, I had no idea. But what I realize is every interview process will make you stronger. You know, it's like this is something good about being a software engineer. It's we are getting skill. Like it's like skill piles up inside us. So while you prepare for the interview, you will get more skill. So even though it's daunting, like you might think there's so many steps I need to learn. Like, yeah, don't give up because it's marathon. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And this is resources that I shared so far. So if you haven't take screenshot now. Highly recommend like Udemy course and like YouTube link that I mentioned. And also lead code, top interview question, easy. Yeah. And we're gonna move to Q&A section. I think I got few Q&A on the question section. Do you know some companies that can give you a remote job as yeah, of course. Like I mean, yeah, I don't know because I haven't really had a look at it since I got a job, but I'm working fully remotely, and there's many companies that are like remote and hybrid. I used LinkedIn for 95%. So in LinkedIn, they always mention like remote, hybrid, or on-site. How much time did you invest in learning before start to apply to job? I invested like 5 months because I also had visa issue. But I found like commonly average is like 3 to 6 months for all this prepare for all this step I mentioned. Where can we have access to this slide? I think um, I'm not sure actually, but this video is gonna be on the YouTube, like Codementor channel, in few days. So you can see this slide there. How many jobs should you apply to get interview? For my case, it was hard because I had visa problem. I applied to 200 company and I got interview for like 30 to 40 company. But when I see other junior engineer, they usually apply like 20, around 20 to get a good job. Yeah, so I think you can just expect like around 30 to apply. I know how to code on React.js. Do I need to learn Vue 2 to get a job? No, definitely no. Stick with one framework. Yeah, like learning two framework when you're junior is not a good idea. Once you master React.js, you can move to the other framework. But yeah, like learning two is so confusing. No, and I found like there's more job opportunity for React.js. So yeah, you don't have to learn Vue. How long did it take you to apply? Oh, so for these 200 job, I applied over 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. But don't worry, like it's not gonna be 5 months for you, like 3 months maybe or less. I love working with specifying how the product will be made, software edges, specifying how the product. Oh, I don't get the question actually. Can you put more detail for this question? Um, did you keep any notes about your process of 200 of yeah, like first time I tracked all the company I applied on Notion, and then I rejected so many times, so I pissed off, so I stopped doing that. But yeah, if you want, like you can definitely use Notion, and uh, yeah, like you can definitely use Notion to track them. How much salary 1 to 2 year experience junior can get? So I'm in London. I don't know where you are, but our in UK junior usually get around 28,000 pound to like 32,000 pounds. Okay, am I put correct zero? Like 28 to 32 something pounds. That's like average per junior. Okay, I where can we get the access to link on and slide? Okay, so I'm not sure how can I share this slide, but you can take screenshot of this. It's gonna be annoying because you need to type like each alphabet to URL. Sorry, but this is yeah, or like you can email me. I will share the slide. My email is seyoungju@gmail.com. Yeah, I think it's gonna be difficult to type my name. So just take screenshot of this. Yeah. In terms of social media, I understand you setting up LinkedIn is important. Did you take all the LinkedIn assess? No, I didn't. I didn't take a LinkedIn assessment test. I'm not sure that can be benefit. Maybe, but I would rather just prepare for a company one-to-one coding interview rather than that. If you have time, you can do that, but I just thought that's too much for me because I already was so daunting with preparing for algorithm interview and etc. Okay, so I will share here my email. Yeah, seyoungjudv@gmail.com. Yeah, I will share the link if you need, or yeah, just send me the email. I think that's all the question for today. Um, yeah, so we're almost done actually. We did 40 minutes, so if you don't have any question, I'll finish my presentation from here. Oh, actually, there's one more question. Okay, this can be last question. How many personal projects do you recommend having before apply for a junior position? I think two. Two, if you have a team project, like team project, that's the best. If you have like really good team project, like you deploy the app, one can be enough. But in my case, I had two. Yeah, like having too many projects also not that good because it's just like have a good quality of two project I recommend, or one or two. Yeah. Okay. Can you code review my pet project? Yeah, just send me email for the code review. Okay, everyone. Thank you for today, and yeah, it's gonna be end. Thank you so much.